Being a professional mountaineer and achieving all the summits was my top priority in life. Till the day I met her, she shook my reality by her charms. We met on a base that came for the K2 summit. She was with her friends who was also interested in achieving her first base summit, and we were introduced by our mutual friend. We instantly hit it off. She was an air hostess and also had an adventurous personality, more of a free bird to be precise. Traveling and adventure was something that we had in common, and we both started to cherish each other's company. Right after my summit, as I went back to Texas, I contacted her if she was around so that I could take her to a coffee date, and to my surprise, she immediately responded with a positive gesture. By the eve as we met, I was amused to get a really beautiful watch as a gift that really clicked my heart. I also went to give her something that was pretty and unique, so I brought her a really fine and beautiful dress. That night, we spent almost 4 hours together, and we still were not tired and wanted to spend some more time. But the next day, I had to go to my job, and she also had to fly to Nevada. Although we had to depart, we stayed in touch and started having conversation almost on a daily basis. She had a really beautiful foreign accent, as she was a Latin native. The next surprise that she gave me was that she arranged two-way tickets to California and took me there, absolutely free of cost, all the way across America just to show me the most beautiful sunset. Being air hostess had its own perks. We started to fly almost on a weekly basis. Sometimes we visit some exotic country, other times we fly locally. It was so worth it to spend time together, as it was our only main priority. I was totally captivated by her beauty, her charms, and her intelligence. She was the funniest person I have ever met. It just took me 2 months to fall madly in love with her, and now we were just inseparable. Now I could not imagine spending my time with someone else, so without wasting any time, I proposed to her in Bali while we were there for a week. She was surprised as this was just too far for her. I clearly remembered that she said she wanted to have fun in life and just have a good time. But I was very insistent that I could not live without her, so she gladly accepted, and just a week later, we got married. I invited both of our mutual friends from whom we were introduced, as they were very special to us. Beautiful days of our life were now starting, as we were now spending almost all of our time together. Because being air hostess, it was almost free for her to take me along, and I was a professional travel photographer, which aided our ventures. I clearly remember when our disagreement began after our marriage. I wanted her to be a little bit more modest and just to focus on our relationship, while she was still spending her days like a teenager and wanted to experience everything in life and have fun and parties. Whenever we went after work, she almost used to go out and make new friends, while I mostly stayed inside or just went out to take my photos for the magazine that I was working for. There's a limit to the closeness that you can achieve, and after marriage, things do start to get a little mundane and there's not much new stuff to talk about. That's where faith and commitment comes in. To establish a strong foundation of relationship, it is very important that you trust your partner fully and give your wholehearted commitment to them. But I was a fool enough to expect that the commitment that I had given was just my side of the story, and she was bored already. Just after a few months, we started to drift apart slowly, as she was always out having parties with the new friends and rarely gave me any time. While I waited in the room, and even after calling her and many times, she was very much unresponsive. This kinda made me upset. Yet I kept quiet and went along with it, but after a year it was just too much even for me. So I started to protest a little and complain about her behavior. I tried to emphasize on investing a relationship as we were now for each other, but she was just very much determined by saying that it was your decision. I agreed just to make you comfortable. My life was already social before you, and it will remain as such. This broke my heart because I had assumed that the sentiments were mutual, yet they were not. What came next was very painful. She started to bring along other people to our home to have Xbox gaming parties, and we now had little to no time for each other, and I was just a silent partner now, and this had started to eat me a lot. But what hurt me the most was that one boy, whenever we went to Florida, as it was our regular destination, she used to invite him a lot to our room, and they used to play Xbox games till late at night. But one day, a particular thing that caught my attention was that they were sitting uncomfortably close to each other. Well, they started to move fast, and now the most unimaginable thing that happened, as I had read stories about dead bedrooms, and now I was the one experiencing it because intimacy between us was non-existent. Either we were quietly traveling to our destinations, or we were having quiet meals together. Then things took a turn as her company cut down all the expenses due to COVID, and now she was not allowed to take 2 people along with her. She has to travel alone now. This was painful for me because we were already in a struggling phase. Now she had to move away for many days, and I was left alone with no other person to talk to or share memories with. Suddenly, I got a call from a mutual friend that basically introduced us for the very first time. She was pretty concerned and upset, and her tone was pretty gloomy. She asked me if I could come to Manhattan to meet her, to which I replied my trip would be arriving in 3 days. I would definitely catch up, and I asked if everything was okay on her side. She basically covered it up by saying that everything is fine. I just wanted to catch up and see how things are going on your side. After 3 days, I packed my bags and went to Manhattan after going to head office and submitting my recent portfolio. I called her and invited her to a nearby restaurant. She had a serious face this time and was in no mood to joke around. After having a basic conversation, she started off by asking, "How are you guys holding up and how is your relationship going?" To which I was surprised at how she got the hint about it. I simply couldn't hold back and soon opened up to all my issues and shared everything with her while telling her that I really wanted to spend time with her. While she had been acting mean and was more interested in having a good time, I went on to tell her how I was being ignored this whole year while she was busy with work and parties, and almost recently how the airline had stopped her from taking relatives or spouses with her on travel. Now I got to see her after 10 days, and this is very unhealthy for our relationship, and I have no clue what to do or how to make it work. After hearing all this, she was also kinda upset and had a hint of tears in my eyes, to which I felt that what she had to share might not be the good news. After listening to my whole story, she kept quiet for a while and then said to me, "John, the thing that I had to share with you could break your heart, but it is something that I cannot keep in hiding, as it's my responsibility as a friend to be honest with you." She said if I had told you on the phone, you might not have believed me. That's why I requested you to come all this week here, so that I could show you in person. This could be the most painful thing you will ever see, but trust me, it will pass like every other problem in life. This was a very strange kind of an explanation that I had heard in a while, since nobody I knew lived in Manhattan apart from her and my head office. How can she show me something in this strange city that might break my heart? She then requested me not to react on an impulse, and it will be in my best interest that I keep calm and give it some time. Now my anticipation was above the roof, so I requested her to please show me what she had been thinking all this time. So she took a cab with me to like 50 streets ahead, and there we sat in a bar. After like 10 p.m. we waited for like 30 minutes. I saw a familiar face in a bartender dress. It was Jenny, and she was doing bartending for that specific bar, and this was unbelievable and shocking. How could this happen? As she had a stable job and she should be flying to New York tonight, but how is this possible that she is here as a bartender? Since we were sitting in the corner, it was hard for her to see us among all the people there. Suddenly I saw a familiar face The same boy who used to play Xbox games with us at our California residence was here as well, and he was hugging her in a very intimate manner. GR was sitting in a bar chair and having his drink. This made me pretty much furious and angry, but since I had planned not to react, I just sat there in a disbelief and sadness. After that, I returned back home, and she came back like 6 days later. Upon asking her how things had been going, she replied by telling me things are going pretty good. She had been pretty busy as flights are resuming again. This was a sad thing to hear since by now I knew the truth. It was pretty evident that her intentions and motives were not aligned with what she had done behind my back was an unforgivable act. So I also planned to give her some surprise, as I was the one to propose to her. I should be the one to end it for once, and for the best. Next time when she told me she'll be going on another of her flights, I knew where she would be, so I planned a really good surprise for her with my friend. I called the manager the next day and said that I will be arranging a party and hosting everybody there, and I'll be making toast to my wife. Next year the announcement was made and the whole bar was filled with guests, and as they were anxiously waiting for the guest of the owner to speak, which was me, and to toast my wife. The twist came when I had a condition that I would be speaking behind the curtains until the last moment. As everybody was seated and was in a very happy mood, I started by telling our love story and my dedication towards her and all the things that I had sacrificed and given up in my life just to be with her, and what a beautiful journey it was. As I was halfway through it, I started the twist by telling everybody how I had been betrayed multiple times and discarded over for such trivial experiences of life, and how badly I was pushed aside despite me being fully sincere and always available to her, and how horribly it had failed, and how sad I had been all these months. After this I asked if it was just a thing, if I should leave her, or should I keep holding on and hope that one day her heart might change and she would be a different person. Everybody sitting there said in one tone that it's best to give her divorce. Right at that instant, as I had instructed the lightman to put the main light on the bartender, as he put them on, Jenny was surprised to have herself in the spotlight. I told everybody that I was the person who had been suffering, and this person is my wife, who had told me that she was flying to New York while she's here with her boyfriend cheating behind my back, and the other boy was very much embarrassed in red color, sitting there and seeing everybody with his haunting eyes. They both were horrified to the core and were now shaking in disbelief. This was a gift that I wanted to give her as a departing present. After that, I handed over the divorce papers and simply left the place. While everybody was cursing them both, and they both had no freaking clue how to respond to this sudden surprise which she just got. This gave me some sort of satisfaction. I went back home and had a beautiful sleep. Next day, I woke up and planned to resume my adventure life where I had left off, and took the one-way ticket to go to the nearest base camp, smiling all the way.